Hello, my name is Stella. Do you remember me? I am a X350T Millennium Design robot. I am here to take you through the production process and a brief making of the Enlighten Group's first 3D animation movie, The Legend of Ryker. I know you are very eager to proceed, so let's get it on. The Legend of Ryker, the story of a ninja rat. A warrior named Ryker. He was strong and inspired many of his kind with his might and power. But, as he discovered his abilities, his mind made him hunger for more power. He stole the reverence mask of honor and disappeared from the academy. Soon, he realized that he has done a terrible mistake and disgraced his master. He could not return to the academy, so he went on to find his destiny the hard way. On his journey, he met a house dog named Audie and stole his very precious pendant. The dog, being restless, followed Ryker through the lands, where he met various other creatures. Finally, when both Ryker and Audie meet, they found themselves in an evil scientist's lab. The scientist discovered he could use Audie's pendant to unleash great power in his invention to conquer the world. Ryker and Audie saved each other from scientist's minions and teamed up against him to make him fail in his intentions and return home. As they return, Ryker realized what he has been missing and finally mustered the courage to return to the academy and become a legend. Characters are the most crucial part of a story. The initial concept art for Hayden was based more on an old lousy rat, but evolved more to be the proudest character later on. Hayden's persona needed that much anticipated pride and boldness that is shown in various concept arts, and finally on his output. Ryker's outfit more or less looked like an urban spy or an agent. But we needed to stick to the Chinese ethnicity and outfit, so the concept drawings were modified over to give Ryker his final ninja warrior look. Other characters of the same rat fraternity were based on Hayden and Ryker's look, so were made quickly, taking into account their roles in the story. The dog needed to look more cute than agile, which he became later. So his concept started from a simple dog, and later evolved into a more cutely agile character. The scientist has gone through many changes, from being less heightened and funny to more cheesy and evil looking. Finally, we settled with a more sarcastically sober and evil approach, which is reflected in the concept art. Sounds effects and dialogues are essential for production to start. Sound recording can also run parallel with production in a pipeline. After proper storyboards have been done, the sounds and dialogues are recorded. Multiple versions of a character's voice are tested to see which ones match the character better, and then composited over with the background music.
For the sake of honor, for the sake of others' happiness.
The modeling process started after the characters were visualized in pre-concepts. Every character was modeled in 3ds Max, keeping in mind their behavior, mannerism, body movement, agility and ability to move, observe and react. Models were modified many times, till the proper realism and resolution was achieved. An efficient modeling technology was used to ensure models are made with pinpoint accuracy, to ensure proper deformation during facial and body animation. Many plugins and scripts were made and used to facilitate faster modeling of organic and inorganic surfaces. UV solving is a very crucial process. It involves creating texture templates for characters and other 3D objects that later on can be painted in 2D applications, like Photoshop and Body Paint, and mapped back onto those 3D objects. Models need to be cleaned of triangles and 5-pointers, so as to make the UV solving process easier. An inorganic model is easily textured, because most of the time, the UVs need not be solved for those objects. For complex shapes, we need to define how this texture mapping flows over our objects. A UV template is a character's flat texture, which is typically produced after a lot of hard work on defining and solving the flow of the texture over a character's surface by editing overlapping of these UVs. After the templates were made, they were exported with highest resolutions possible, with alpha channels and normal mapping details, to Photoshop, and then painted and brought back into 3ds Max. Texturing an object adds to its realism and makes it look more realistic. By applying materialistic properties over an object's surface, we can add specific details that makes characters and other objects appear more natural and lifelike. After the templates have been exported, we bring them into Photoshop and start painting. We used digital painting techniques over multiple layers to manage a character's facial and bodily features. Each layer consisted of multiple colored versions of a texture in order to provide us with testing capabilities, in case we ever didn't like the output. Sometimes, for some characters, such as inorganic or suborganic creatures, we never tend to use pixel-based textures. Instead, we put the inbuilt procedural shaders in 3ds Max to work. By adjusting various aspects, such as specularity, bumpiness and reflection, we have made our characters as real as the story requires them to be. Rigging is building a skeleton for your character, so it can be animated. The varying degrees of complexion in our character models has allowed us to venture into this stream, experiment and develop rigging systems that can be easily implemented over new characters and animated easily. A textured character is first scaled to proper height as required, and then bones are made for different parts of the body. After the skeleton has been made, controls are added to make them work together. To achieve efficient rigging, one must employ minimum control objects to provide maximum control over the movement of the skeleton. After rigging, the characters need to be skinned. This is the part where we relate which part of the mesh will be affected by which bone or control. This generally takes a long time, especially on complex characters. A character can be animation ready only after proper rigging and skinning has been done. Animation starts only after the characters have been finalized. We have given a long time to make our characters look, act and react beautifully, and according to the situation. Animating a character is most difficult task for a beginner, but doing so regularly is the best practice for even a professional. We made run and walk cycles of characters that were more agile. Sometimes, we also had to use pose-to-pose animation where characters didn't need to walk, run or jump over long distance or the actions were more or less anticipated. Facial animation, on the other hand, is most challenging. Matching the facial expression with the pre-recorded sounds takes a long practice and precision for it to look believable. Shots that are complete with animation are readied for final rendering by applying lights over scenes and adjusting material of objects according to light. Different types of environments require different types of lighting. According to the time of day, environment and atmosphere conditions, ambience and mood of the scene can change drastically if proper lighting is done. Contact shadows need to be more softer during night scenes and harder shadows need to look more crispy during day scenes. After lighting has been finalized, the scenes are put to the mercy of the processor for the rendering process. This definitely allows us to grab some coffee. Finally, the shots are rendered as separate sets of rendered images which are called frames. Rendering individual frames gives us more control over compositing later on. Having all shots at hand, the compositing was done using After Effects. All shots are called in and put to the sequence as per the final sound that was recorded earlier. Effects, masks, layer animation and transition effects are given wherever possible and needed. Finally, the output is what you see on the scene. That's all for today. Hope you like this presentation. This is Stella from Enlighten Group, signing off. Bye for now and have a good day.